Hi, this is Holly Stokes with the Brain Trainer here. Welcome to Business Profitability. We're talking about easy sales conversations. Part A, there is a second piece to this as well. And I really love working with entrepreneurs. You can almost feel the innovation, the creativity, the vision in creating something that wasn't there before. And if we look at the process of developing a business, there's a lot of different pieces that you have to pull together to get on board with your business. There's the logistics. There's also strategy. There's skill sets, especially like the sales conversation. And a lot of business owners really struggle with getting these pieces together, but also with getting our brain on board. Our brain is responsible for the choices we make that we don't make. It's also responsible for what we follow through on or where we drop the ball and our lack of motivation or not moving forward. So I really love sharing these tools and skills with business owners to build their momentum and get going with their business. And part of that love for small business, when I started my business 14 years ago, I was very unprepared. And I really struggled in the first 3 years. I didn't know where to start, but I jumped in. I had faith that it would come together. And piece by piece it did. But there are paths in moving forward that make it easier versus struggling uphill when you don't have enough information or you don't have the tools and resources that you need. So as we go through the process today, hopefully you'll find some powerful information that can really help you boost your sales process, get clear about your process, and also make it comfortable both for you and for the prospects, the clients that you're talking to in the process. So let's go ahead and get started. So as we're talking about the sales conversation, often a lot of us have sales mental blocks, ways that we kind of get tripped up in the process of sales. And some of our attitudes or experiences in the past with pushy salespeople or negative experiences then adds to what our mind references in our sales conversation. We're going to talk about that a little more too. So we're going to talk, as we go through, we're going to talk about sales attitudes that work and how those can help you in your conversations. Also some need to know information about setting up your process, your background, some ways of selling without selling. And this makes it more comfortable for your prospects to have these conversations, and it doesn't feel pushy, but you're still asking for the sale. And then we're going to also map the sales process. And there's some different things to have along the way that can really help you dial that in. What do you need to say? What material do you need to cover? So there's also at the end, we have several action steps that you can take to really dial this process in for you. So let's go ahead and get started here. So here's where our sales mental blocks come from. If we've had past experiences with bad salespeople, that information kind of goes into the background of our mind. And I talk about how our automatic mind is running habits, patterns, and programs. So for example, one of my experiences, I went to find a car and I told the sales representative, I want a 4-door hatchback because I travel a lot and it makes it easy. And so he took me around, the parking lot, and he showed me, hey, this is a great little car. We just got it in, low gas mileage. And I'm like, well, it's 2-door. And he's like, oh, that doesn't matter. That would still work for you, wouldn't it? I'm like, no, I need a 4-door. It's hard to get things in and out. And I take my nephews with me. He's like, oh, kids would fit in the back seat. No, it's not going to work for me, right? So we went to another car again. It wasn't one of my specifications. It wasn't a hatchback. And he's trying to, sell me what he has available rather than really listening. So this is where we get these sales mental blocks from. If we've had negative experiences in the past, that goes into the archives of our mind. And our automatic mind is summing up that history with the positives and the negatives, and it's giving us kind of a feeling about it. So even though at the conscious level we know, hey, I don't have to be creepy and pushy as a salesperson, our unconscious or automatic mind can still be saying, salespeople don't care about you. Salespeople are dishonest or pushy. I can't be a salesperson. So these are those mental blocks that kind of keep us feeling uncomfortable in that process and kind of trip us up there. Salespeople are greedy. There's also a mental blocks quiz. I'll talk about that at the end of our presentation today, a place that you can get that mental blocks quiz, or I can send it out to you. And that helps you kind of recognize where those mental blocks are for you. So one is we kind of help the brain clear up these mental blocks, then we can feel more clear, more focused. So there are processes in both NLP and hypnosis that help to do that. But I want to share some of the, I'll be sharing some of the attitudes that help to offset those blocks as well. So here's the effects, is if our mind is holding on to these mental blocks with sales, we don't ask for the sale. We feel uncomfortable, we hold back, or they get confused. If they don't know exactly what your products or services are, what the terms and conditions are with that, and when people get confused, if there's too many options, or you're offering things that don't fit what their specifications are, what they need, they get confused. If they get confused, they don't want to purchase, right? The other thing, if we're bringing in that energy of feeling awkward, it shows up in a lot of ways. It shows up in our body language, and people are picking that up, even at an unconscious level. So I like to call the unconscious mind the automatic mind. It's responsible for whatever your mind is running automatically in the background. So our history with sales, but also like these feelings of awkwardness, or, you know, I can't be a salesperson, and that comes out in that feeling and that body language. Another effect of these mental blocks, we actually avoid the sales conversation. Of course, sales and bringing in money is the lifeblood of any business. So as we feel more comfortable in the process, as we know our process, and we know what is a good fit for us, versus what's not a good fit, then we create that comfort in our process, and that also sets our customer at ease as well. So the problem with not being clear with your sales process, the person gets confused, they feel awkward, you don't ask for the sale, they go find a competitor that may not be as good as you in your field. But because of that confusion and awkwardness, you could be missing out on the people that you could help or on building that business. So what do we do about it? Here's the sales attitudes that work. So I often get folks who come in with fear of sales, feeling uncomfortable or awkward, and they wanted to change these mental blocks and these patterns. So one is to help you recognize, as a salesperson, or you could even say as a representative of the company, you get to choose how you show up. So you don't have to be, like, even though you might have had negative experiences in the past, you don't have to be that way. You can be helpful, be honest, come from a place of service. In fact, in your history of being a shopper and a consumer, your mind probably has a lot of examples of salespeople who were very helpful with you, who were service-oriented, really helping you try to find the right fit, and not those negative examples that we can all relate to. So we can even ask your automatic mind, your unconscious mind, to bring forward to your awareness examples of positive experiences that you've had with salespeople, whether it's shopping for shoes or even buying a car, buying a house, whatever it is, people who showed up sincerely, who cared about you, who were honest and clear about what their product or service could do or couldn't do. They made sure that you were a good fit for what they offered. And here's the thing, if someone is not a good fit for you, make sure that you refer, help them out, find their next step, even if you're not the fit for them, right? And because that also goes to their experience with how you showed up and your business. So how you show up in that conversation is also a representation of your business. And that goes into how people feel about you and your reputation as an independent agent, as a sales, and as a small business owner as well. So sales attitudes that work: service, honesty, you know, we know these things, right? And helping your mind recognize those good examples of salespeople. So here's the business balance wheel. This is a worksheet. I can send this after. It's for small business owners to recognize the 6 areas of business and to keep some balance within these areas. Now, I just wanted to mention this briefly because a lot of business owners, especially in the service industry, tend to kind of forget that marketing and sales should be almost a third of your time and energy and focus. Marketing and sales is simply how you get the word out, how you find and connect with people, and then of course how you have that conversation to bring them in as a client. So this just helps to keep top of mind that don't get caught up in doing so much of the admin, but really making the time for your marketing and sales. And there's a lot of different ways that you can get the word out. And then I have a resource. If you go to my website, thebraintrainerllc.com, under business, you'll see 47 marketing strategies free. So if you're kind of at a loss of how to make those connections and get the word out, you can download that. It has a page that you can get the download on that 47 checklist. Okay, so before you're in the sales process, know your offers. You want to know what problems do you solve? What do you do? What do you not do, right? In this, you want to know who is that profile of your ideal client. So what are they looking for? The more that you can kind of build your profile, and I've talked about this more in depth in some of the other online classes that we've done, but the more you can really build and focus that profile of your ideal client, you can start getting into the awareness of what are they looking for? What are they looking for online? Where do they go? What are their main concerns? What are the problems? What are the words for those problems? The words for the problems that they talk about or that they use then become your keywords of how you get found, how you connect with people. What are your programs and packages? Getting really clear about that before you step into that sales conversation. And then knowing where they fit versus where you're going to refer. So it's a really good idea to create an FAQ list. Now, even if they're not a good fit for you and you refer them, I've had people that I have referred to other folks to help them in their process. And even though they didn't work with me, they referred people back to me because I was helpful in that process. And we want to work with people who are helpful, that we can trust, that we have that rapport with. Okay, so create your offers. We'll just go through a slide or 1 or 2 more slides here, and then we'll stop and chat for a minute. So you want to create your offers and your options. For those of you as independent agents, these are set for you, so you don't have to worry about this. But for the small business owner or the service industry, a lot of times we're creating this from scratch. So the classic creation of your offer or options is 3 options, kind of like McDonald's, small, medium, or large, right? And if you name your package, it actually becomes a thing. So I've named, like, my beginning package is Jumpstart. Ideally, you want to create a name with your package that also recognizes or identifies the benefit. So so the small package is Jumpstart, breakthrough. That sounds like a benefit. They're going to get a breakthrough. Or create your amazing life is the 3rd option. So having options also helps people in the choosing process. We'll talk about that a little bit more. In your offers and options, illustrate the value. What is the value of each package? What is the benefit? Have your forms ready to sign. I like to have a paper so people can read and see exactly what they're signing up for and exactly what they get versus what their expectations are. It also looks more professional, that things are dialed in. You're not pulling a number off the top of your head for service folks. Have your terms and conditions. Recognize, like, is there a fee if they miss an appointment, or what are those conditions? Creating that clarity and that conciseness. Make it clear and concise. Do you offer payments? So these are all options that you want to take care of and dial in before that conversation so that you're really comfortable. You can also create an FAQ list. What problems do you solve? Who do you work with? Who is a good fit versus who isn't? Terms and conditions, time commitments, what can they expect? And so we're going to go ahead. I'm going to stop the screen share and we'll just have a quick chat about who your ideal client is and the problems you solve.